Hello, good evening. In just over 2 weeks' time, this country will host the COP26 climate conference, in which world leaders will thrash out the best way to achieve environmental goals. And yet, if any of those gathered dignitaries manage to catch sight of a freight train en route to Glasgow, they might be in for a bit of a surprise. That's because some rail freight, which had been electric, are now running off diesel. The reason? The energy crisis, which has seen providers fold and electricity costs soar. This is an issue which goes far beyond the UK, set against a backdrop of carbon emissions increasing by 4% across the G20 this year. Tonight, we explore whether decisions being taken now in the midst of this crisis threaten to destabilise environmental goals. Here's Ben Chu. Joined now by Dr. Talita Dias, a fellow at Jesus College, Oxford, who specialises in the regulation of online harms under international law. Good evening. We've talked a lot about tech companies, doing nothing. And then when they do something and they intervene, it's also not right or they're criticised. What can we derive from that, with the tech giants themselves being in charge of this, making these decisions, being the one thing that so many of them say they're not, which is editors, and about the biases or perceived biases, but that's a whole other area. Dr. Talita Dias, thank you. Well, let's take a look at some of the front pages. Here on the front of the Daily Telegraph, talk here of unions, as they're putting it, holding Christmas hostage. Unite threatens to cut supply with the biggest lorry strike since the 70s. And we've also got households pushed to scrap gas boilers with a £5,000 grant. New gas boilers will be banned from 2035 and families set to be offered £5,000 in grants. On the front page of the Financial Times, top EU states to push to put bloc on standby for trade war with Britain. Again, response to the UK threat over the Brexit deal, with some of the response there from the EU. And on the front page of The Guardian, back to the GPs and the face-to-face appointments plan. There is a concern here, it says, around an exodus of doctors after the funding was announced, certainly in England, by the Health Secretary today. Well, that is all from us this evening. Mark is here tomorrow. Until then, thank you for your company. Good night.